Hello IP4. This is lesson 8 of your video lessons, and it is the first lesson of the 2 lessons you will be getting today on Friday. So make sure that this is the first lesson that you're watching for Friday. And we are continuing with chapter 6, pronouns. So this is going to be lesson 2 about pronouns. Before we start learning more about pronouns, we are going to check the homework I gave you in our first lesson. So please get your workbooks ready. Okay, this is your homework from our first lesson about pronouns that you did on Tuesday, and you had to do workbook page 94. On workbook page 94, you had 10 sentences. You had to read the sentence, find the pronoun, and tell us what words the pronoun was referring to. So I actually gave you number 1 as an example on Tuesday, so you should have all gotten this. Number 1. Let us think of a way to clean up litter, said Matt and Lynn. The pronoun is us, and that is telling us about Matt and Lynn. Number 2, Lynn told Matt that he could use things over again. The pronoun is he, and it refers to Matt. Number 3, Dora and Ahmed collected bottles. Matt wanted to help them. The word them is the pronoun, and it is telling us about Dora and Ahmed. Number 4, Lynn wanted to help too. She had an idea. The pronoun is she, and it is referring to Lynn. Now number 5, I have saved newspapers, said Lynn. Lynn wanted to recycle them. There's 2 words that have been underlined. The first word that was underlined was newspapers, and the pronoun them is referring to the newspapers. And the second word you had to find was Lynn, and the pronoun I refers to Lynn, because Lynn is speaking, so she uses the pronoun I. Number 6, you must take out the papers, Lynn told Matt. Help me, Lynn said. So again, we've got 2 things being referred to. The first one is Matt, and the pronoun you refers to Matt. Because Lynn is speaking to Matt, she directly addresses him and says you. The second one, Lynn, is me, because Lynn is referring to herself. Number 7, a truck took the newspapers away. It came once a month. The pronoun it refers to the truck. Number 8, now we should clean up the park, said Matt and Lynn. Matt and Lynn are speaking. They use the pronoun we. Number 9, Matt began to pick up paper from the grass. Lynn helped him. The pronoun is him, and it refers to Matt. This last one I've written the wrong way around for some reason, but number 10, at last Matt and Lynn finished working. They were happy and tired. The pronoun they refers to Matt and Lynn. So please give yourselves a score out of 10. So I hope everyone got at least 7 out of 10. You need 7 to pass. Numbers 5 and 6 were a little bit trickier because there were 2 sets of things that you needed to find. But hopefully you found this fairly easy. Okay, so today's lesson is about subject pronouns. In lesson 1, we learned what pronouns were, and today we're going to talk about subject pronouns, which again is something that we did do in IP3 last year, so I hope that you remember the subject pronouns. Okay, so in our very first chapter, right at the beginning of the year, we talked about subject and predicate. We know that the subject of a sentence tells us who or what the sentence is about. and usually a word in the subject of a sentence will be a noun. But we can use subject pronouns instead of nouns in the subject of a sentence. So we've got some examples. Bento needs to borrow a pencil. We can use the subject pronoun he instead of Bento. So he needs to borrow a pencil. Or this one, Google and I got lost on our way to the park. Instead of saying Google and I could say we got lost on our way to the park. Now, in the last lesson, I gave you a big list of pronouns. I told you some singular pronouns and some plural pronouns, but only some of them can be used for the subject of a sentence. The singular subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, and it. And the plural subject pronouns are we, you, and they. So these ones are for one person, place, or thing. These ones are for more than one person, place, or thing. And like I told you in the last lesson on Tuesday, you can be singular or plural. Okay, please open your textbook to page 206. You need to answer questions 1 to 6. So you read the sentence, and one of the words has been underlined. You need to choose a subject pronoun that we can use instead of the word that's been underlined. Number 1, Matt said to Selena, Selena found a ladybug. I'm not going to tell you the answer, but I will tell you that Selena is a girl's name and that Matt is a boy's name. Now I want you to do questions 1 to 6. As usual, if you do not have your textbook, get some paper and write the answers when you pause the video. If you do have your textbook, then you can answer in your textbook. So when I've said to pause, please pause the video and press play when you have given me the pronouns for numbers 1 to 6. So please pause now. Okay, have you finished up to number 6? If you are finished, you can keep listening for the answers. Okay, number 1. Matt said to Selena, Selena found a ladybug. Now, I gave you a little bit of a trick with that first one because Matt is speaking to Selena. Matt is speaking to Selena, so he would use the pronoun you because he is speaking directly to Selena. So Selena found a ladybug, you found a ladybug. Number 2, Matt and I know that ladybugs are helpful insects. Matt and I, we would say we. Number 3, ladybugs are not really bugs. Ladybugs are beetles. Ladybugs, they. Number 4, this beetle eats insects that destroy plants. For this beetle, we would use it. Number 5, Selena did not disturb the ladybug. Selena, like I told you, is a girl, so we say she. Number 6, Selena said, Selena should not hurt such a helpful insect. Selena is speaking, she would not use her own name. She would use the pronoun I. So give yourselves a score out of 6, and then we'll move on to the next page. Okay, so look at page 207, questions 7 to 12. You need to do the same thing again. Read the sentence, look at the underlined words, and write the correct subject pronoun that would replace those underlined words. So when I've said to pause, pause the video and press play when you've done up to number 12. So please pause now. Okay, if you have finished up to number 12, keep listening for the answers. Number 7, Holly and Henry read the book. Holly and Henry is they, 2 people. Number 8, Henry learned that butterflies start out as eggs. Henry is a boy's name, we use he. Number 9, then the eggs hatch into caterpillars. The eggs is plural, so we need to use they. Number 10, Henry read that the third stage is the pupa. Henry is still a boy, so we use he. Number 11, Holly said that the caterpillar spins a hard shell. Holly is a girl's name, we use she. And number 12, when this shell cracks, a butterfly comes out. This shell is one thing, so we use it. So again, give yourselves a score out of 6 and a total out of 12. Okay, that is the end of this lesson. Your homework today is workbook page 96. Now, because you have 2 lessons on a Friday, as usual, I want you to do this workbook page before you watch today's second video. So make sure you finish workbook page 96 before you watch lesson 116. Right before we finish, as usual, I'm going to show you what to do for this workbook page. Okay, so this is your homework for today, workbook page 96. Now, section A is pretty easy. All you need to do is read the sentence, find the subject pronoun, and write it on this line. So number 1, we play in the music room every day after school. What is the pronoun? Should be quite easy. When you found the pronoun, write it on the line. Section B is more like the work that we've just done in the textbook. You need to write these sentences again, but you change the underlined word to a subject pronoun. So write the sentence, but change this to a subject pronoun. Okay, IP4, that is the end of this lesson. So like I've told you, make sure that workbook page is finished before you watch our second lesson today. So until then, thank you IP4. Bye-bye.